Everyone appearing in the case of People versus Brian Benton. Please rise. The presence of the flag of our country and remembering the principles for which it stands, Department 6 of the Superior Court of the County of Williams, State of Minnesota. The Honorable Randy Bass, Judge presiding, is now in session. Please be seated and come to order. All persons having business before the court be acknowledged.
I'd like to reopen the case of the State versus Brian Benson. I'd like to reopen the case with the defense re-examining.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. We would like to recall Ellen Carter, please.
Great.
Thank you. Oh, now?
I don't know where more is.
State your age. Okay.
I'm 25.
What is a typical night out for you and Vanessa?
Usually partying with friends.
What do y'all do at the party?
We usually drink.
What time did y'all arrive at Brian's party? Or Brian's house?
Brian's house.
Right.
I don't recall.
Did you and Vanessa have a pre-party?
You mean, did we have any alcohol before we went to the party?
Yes.
Yes.
What was the guy's name Vanessa wanted to visit?
Is it Brian? No. The gentleman behind that she wanted you to see. I forgot her name. I ain't gonna
Did you know, well, you don't know that, you say you don't know the dudes that you don't like.
know.
So, okay, is it a possibility that Vanessa could not visit him after she disappeared?
Yes.
What is it about the gentleman that you did not like? Why did you not want her to associate with him?
I felt like he was older and a bad influence on her.
Okay, in what respect?
We were already doing things we weren't supposed to be doing, so.
And
I just
encouraged
didn't
her
like
to do
him.
more?
Right.
Do you know if they had an intimate relationship or not?
No, I do not.
You do not know, or did you know? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Carter.
When she left the bar or whatever it was that night, you were with her. You were with her, correct?
No, I did not leave.
But you were there with her?
Yes, I was at the cafe with
Did you try to get her to stay?
her. She excused herself. So I really didn't know.
And after that, she didn't stay?
Right.
Okay. Any further questions?
In prosecution, I agree with that.
Great.
Ms. Ellen, in your police report, it doesn't show that you said you and Vanessa had any alcohol before y'all went to the party. Is your police report statement true?
Yes.
Okay. Also, when you went to the cafe, you said that you saw Vanessa drink. Did
Yes.
you personally saw her drink, or did you see somebody?
I saw her drinking at the party.
At the party, but what about the cafe?
No,
Did you see anybody give her something to drink at the
no.
cafe?
Do you have a police report? Can you get that to my brother, please? You want to say it, please?
At the time. Ms. Allen, did you at the cafe personally buy any drinks for Vanessa?
No.
Prosecution drinks?
Okay, so in previous testimony to the court, you stated that y'all were continuing to drink after you left the party, right? Okay, but now you're saying, no, you didn't see her drink.
Well, during the party, yes, we were drinking.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm really not clear over these details, I'm being honest. I
That's okay.
forgot some of the details of the story.
Well, that's whenever the prosecution brought
This is
up.
real talk,
Yeah.
not this case, but I forgot some of the details.
That's
Now,
what-
prior to the party, we weren't supposed to be drinking, right? But on the police report, it said that we weren't, so we were not drinking prior to the party, like pre-party.
Good
At the party, yes, we were drinking. At the cafe, I did not purchase any alcohol for Ms. Mendez, or did I see her drinking at the cafe, which we was talking about was a bar cafe.
Okay. Is it at all possible that in your initial police report, the investigating officer did not ask you if you had had free drinks? And perhaps that's why it wasn't in the initial police report.
You were asking the witness
Can you
to
hear that?
interpret. You were asking the witness to interpret what the police officer saw. She can only answer for what she saw, or what she knew, not what the police officer did.
I was asking why the witness possibly omitted that in her initial.
She only answered the question the way it was asked. You asked her
Exactly. That was
earlier.
my point. Thank you.
Order.
That was my point, just to answer the way she was asked.
All right, now, I have one more question for you. Could the effect of alcohol prior to the cafe where you went have had an effect on the report of what you put down?
It might have, possibly.
Go ahead.
I think you were trying to spin it against you.
Not that I know of.
Any further questions? You may be seated. All right, does, are we on through examining? You know, that-
We'll let call Eddie.
Ready?
all right. Ready?
Yeah, right. It's Mr. Hood again.
That's the corn. Eddie ready to do?
That's what I have on the list, Eddie Reed.
Who, me?
I don't even know who that person is.
He was that drunk guy out by the,
He was a student.
All right. So you don't have it?
Not at all. I didn't even, I thought I was just Ellen and the corn.
Just, you do it. Let's go ahead and do it. Just ask her to raise her right hand. Just.
Same here.
You
swear to tell the truth.
Mr. Jones.
Tell the truth.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right.
Oh, you could do that.
Ms. Regan, while at the party, did you see anybody give Vanessa any alcohol beverages?
I see Vanessa drinking at the party.
Okay. Did you provide any party supplies?
We were supposed to provide soda and other, things for the party, but not alcohol.
Who hosted the party?
Right.
According to your sworn affidavit, you saw Mr. Benson supply Ms. Mendez with a beverage.
So he's saying I saw Brian Benson purchase alcohol.
Offer intoxicating beverage to the victim.
Yes.
You also say that you left the party. What time did you leave?
Between 8 and 12.
Did you go anywhere else besides that night?
No.
Did you see Vanessa consume any other drugs besides alcohol?
It says here that I had knowledge of her trying some cocaine at the party in the home.
After the party, who did you leave with?
Friends.
All right, the person who arrested you on.
You ready? You don't have any questions for this? Go ahead.
Good day, Mr. Reagan. Hi. Okay, let's start at the top. Whenever you were inviting people at the school, you're a student at the whatever high school, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the party that was to occur at Mr. Benson's home on the evening of December the 20th, how were you made aware of that party? Who told you about it? Or who helped
Two
you?
friends at school.
Some friends at school?
Yeah.
So you were not involved with Mr. Harris in the planning of the party or the inviting of the guests? Because,
Yes.
yes, okay. Do you in fact even
I
know?
proposed a Christmas party.
Okay, okay, that's, December 20th is right there at Christmas, so that fits. Do you even know Mr. Brian Benson?
I don't directly know Brian, but I do know Sam.
Right, and Sam was the one that you and he, Mr. Harris,
Mr. Harrison.
Mr. Harris was the one that, in previous information, that you and he were the ones that were sort of responsible for providing all of the supplies. I believe the actual statement that you stole one of the students was, we'll have all the stuff you need. You don't have to bring anything. Was that correct?
Yes.
And once again, you do not know Brian Benson. So you would not know
not directly, I know Sam Harris. But it does say here that we were supposed to supply stuff for the party.
Yes, it is.
They didn't think that the teenagers would partake in the alcohol.
But you invite everybody at school, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No questions at the moment?
All right,
I have a question. How old are you, Mr. Reagan?
I'm 18.
Did any time, did you tell Brian Benson that you were 18?
No.
Do you believe that Brian Benson knew that there were underage people at the party?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because it says that he didn't think that they would partake, so he knew that there was minors there.
He didn't think they would
Partake in the,
And Brian said that?
right.
Congratulations.
so if you,
How was that?
you
I
said,
did do 30 days and 30 days.
I was going to ask if I could talk back up again.
go ahead.
May I, Your Honor? Mr. Reagan, are there any charges pending against you in this current action?
Yeah, I pleaded guilty,
To?
contributing to a delinquency of a minor.
Okay. So, has any of your pleadings for that charge influenced your testimony today?
No.
Thank you.
You said you were supplying things for your party and you didn't supply the alcohol. Who supplied the alcohol?
Right.
No?
Sam. Sam Harris. I keep getting confused.
All right, you may be seated.
No.
You're already arrested.
You missed
You're arrested. Move on to the defense. Does the defense wish to call the witnesses?
The defense wishes to call Brenda Rockwell.
Once you rest, that's it.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth.
Hi, Ms. Rockwell, how are you today?
I'm fine.
Yes. If you could, for the court, state your name and your age.
I'm Brenda Rockwell, and I'm 19 years old.
Now, as you know, we are here today related to incidents December the 20th, December the 21st of 1999. So at the time, were you made aware of a party that was at the home of Mr. Brian Benson on the evening of December the 20th?
I was. My boyfriend, Sam Harris, wanted me to help him out with the party with food and that sort of thing, clean up and that kind of thing.
So to type acting like a hostess capacity?
I guess
Okay. And how long have you and Mr. Harris been seeing each other?
about 2 years.
And did you see Brian Benson at the party that night?
I did.
Did you, what time did you arrive?
Well, I got there a little bit early, about 7:30.
Because y'all was setting up and stuff.
Correct.
And if I may ask, the alcohol that was provided and the food that was provided for the parties, who purchased that?
You know, I really don't know. I know that I didn't, of course, because I'm underage, so.
That's very good. Did Mr. Harris bring the alcohol?
He was bringing a lot of things in, you know, as I say, food and so forth for the party, so I didn't see it specifically.
And did you see Mr. Benson give any alcohol to any of the guests?
No, I really didn't. I was pretty busy with it, putting food out and that sort of stuff, so I don't specifically remember seeing him give alcohol or anything to any of the guests.
And since you're sort of a neutral person here, how many guests would you say attended the party?
Oh, there were better than 20, 25 of them there.
A lot of people.
A lot of different.
So would it have been even feasible for someone to ask, are you of age? Did you ask anyone, are you of age?
No, I didn't.
No. And what time did you leave the party?
We left about midnight.
So you didn't accompany everyone else to the Red Robin?
No, I went home.
And Mr. Harris also?
Well, Mr. Harris took me home. So after that, I'm not certain, but I went home.
Did you have any questions? Thank you.
You said there were 20 to 25 people at the party.
Yes.
Did Brian knew about any underage? Did you believe that Brian knew about any underage people at the party?
Well, I knew him just through my boyfriend, Sam Harris, and he knew I was underage, so I would assume he probably thought some of the others were too, but I don't know for certain.
So you would assume so you think he would assume that everybody was underage, but didn't know.
Right, since the party was brought up at school, at our high school.
But do you think he was aware of that?
Yes, I think he was.
No further questions.
I got one more. I'm sorry. What time did Mr. Benson arrive at the party?
He didn't come in until about 8:45, about 8:45. The party had been going for a little while.
Yes, ma'am. And is it your understanding that the party, because what we had in previous, is that the party was more or less, Mr. Benson's home was just the location of the party. It was actually given by Mr. Harris with Mr. Reagan as...
Right, we were just using his house. They had gotten permission.
Thank you very much, Ms. Michael.
With the prosecution wanting to cross the room. Go ahead.
You can tell me, in your statement, you said there were alcohol there.
Well, yes, it seemed to be.
Okay. Who home did this party take place at?
Mr. Benson, Brian Benson's house. We used his house for the party.
And how old are you now?
I'm 19.
You're 19, so
Yes.
that would make you under the age of 2. Correct?
Correct.
Prosecution ready.
Ready to see? Defense have any more witnesses?
Defense would like to call Sam Harris.
Stand. Maybe any question?
He's with the truth. So what he got?
Good morning, Mr. Harris. How are you? Again, the events of December 20th, the party that occurred at Brian Benson's home. Can you tell me your involvement in this party?
I brought the alcohol
You brought the alcohol. And where did you purchase it?
from my job.
Where you work?
Yes, I work at a grocery store in town.
Yes. And how long have you and Mr. Benson been friends?
We've been friends for, well, actually, he's just a friend of a coworker, so I really barely know the guy.
And you, how did it come that the party was at Mr. Benson's home?
Eddie and I just kind of bugged him about it, and he finally just let us have the party at his home.
That you did supply the alcohol?
Yes.
And Mr. Benson, did he act in any capacity as a host at the party, or was that primarily you and Ms. Rockwell?
That was just Eddie, Brian, barely, I mean, just showed up late, and he just said, whatever, you guys have right now.
So Mr. Benson was not even responsible for inviting any guests?
No.
It was Reagan who invited.
Yeah, it was just the location.
So this is just the shell for this party, right?
Yes.
And then everything else was the inside. Well, I thank you for your time.
How old are you, Mr. Harris?
I'm 21.
Okay, so you're allowed to drink
Yes.
legally. So, when you asked Brian about this party, did you mention any underage people being there?
No.
So, when you first
No.
No, so you didn't know any of them, and I just showed up. Okay, thank you.
But you use it, minors are gonna be there.
Never.
Prosecution, unlike the question.
Yes, Your Honor. Harris, Mr. Harris, how old are you, sir?
21?
Okay, you said at this party that the defense asked you whether Mr. Benson was a host, correct?
He just had the place.
Okay, in the police report though, you stated that you saw Mr. Benson mix several drinks for guests, correct?
That was at his house, so why not enjoy it?
That's not the question that I asked. It states that you say you saw him mix several drinks for guests, so it's just a yes or no.
Oh, yes, he did mix some drinks.
Yes or no?
When he showed up, he did mix some drinks.
Your Honor, can you direct her to answer the question yes or no?
What's she asking me? I mean, he either mixed the drinks or he didn't mix the drinks, so, yes.
Mixing the drinks, mixing the drinks.
This is by her police report. So, only thing I
Yeah,
have.
see that post?
Yes.
Objection, to that from the witness.
First she asked the witness, she asked the witness, he mixed drinks. I think the witness is.
I'm going by what that states. It only requires a yes or no.
Order now,
Question.
order. Objection is gonna be denied, it's in the police report. It does say that you seen him mix drinks, is that correct? And keep in mind, you're on oath.
Yes, he did mix drinks.
I was objecting because first she asked him, was he the host, and then she threw it in, maybe with some juice. That's two different.
You gotta stand up.
Okay. I was objecting because first she asked him, was he the host, and then she threw in that he was mixing drinks. It's either or.
That's also two separate questions.
Which question?
Yes, and what I was asking, I didn't ask her that, I said the defense stated, did you see him being a host? I didn't ask her that question.
She said she didn't. Didn't she say, where's he going?
Order. He took his bathroom.
My next question, Mr. Harris, you arranged for the purchase of alcohol, is that correct?
Yes.
It also states that you reluctantly informed, on one or more than one occasion that Brian Benson opened his liquor cabinet and gave a quart of blackberry brandy to two of the young girls, Vanessa Mendez and Ellen Carter. Is this true?
Yes, but I was an alcohol acrobat. His own.
Only thing I ask, is this true?
Yes, it's true.
Thank you. Prosecution.
Depends on me, but
Yes.
go ahead.
The drinks that you saw Mr. Benson mixing, could they have been for his own consumption?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any further questions, Chris? Alright. If there's no further questions, you may be seated. Defense, do you have any further witnesses?
Your Honor, I went to impeach, a statement.
Present your statement.
For himself, he says yes.
Present your statement.
The defense asked the question that Mr. Brian Benson mixed the drinks for himself. In the affidavit, it said for guests. So for her to assume it's for himself when it clearly says guests.
May I see the affidavit, please, sir? Can you show me where it says that? Does jury please disregard the last statement from the defense? Since you have any further witnesses? You have a closing statement.
Can we,
Sure, but don't be relaxed.
can we, take like half of the people back if they hate to come
Okay. Recess. Recess, 10 minutes.
Call it.
Give a 10-minute recess. Prosecution and defense, get your closing statements together if you have any. Recess. Let's have their statements ready. Defense, go ahead.
Okay.
You're speaking to the jury. You can tell everyone what you like.
Okay. Dear jury, ask yourself, when was the last time you acted on mistake and assumption? The only difference between you and Mr. Brian Benson is that you're not on trial for involuntary manslaughter. It was stated in testimony that when Mr. Brian Benson was asked to have this party at his house, he wasn't told that there was high school students. Mr. Sam Harris even stated that he didn't even know there was going to be high school students. So really, the only things that Brian Benson is guilty of is assumption. I add that Vanessa was drinking prior to the party, which was also stated in testimony, and drinking after the party at Red Robin, which was stated in the police report. So, ask yourself, is it really Brian Benson's full responsibility what happened to Vanessa, which is very tragic?
This is a sad reason that we're all here. The young woman has died, and it's a tragedy. However, another man in his BDM, he could possibly lose up to 15 years of his life. And you need to examine the facts of the case. Everything indicates that Mr. Benson had no idea the invitees to this party. He did not provide the alcohol for the party. He did not serve as host. He did not serve as chaperone. And I'd like to read to you, with the court's permission, the manslaughter charges for Minnesota. Whoever does any of the following is guilty of manslaughter in the first degree and may be sentenced to imprisonment for not more than 15 years or to payment of a fine of not more than $30,000 or both. The first criteria for this is that he intentionally causes the death of another person in the heat of passion, provoked by such words or acts of another as would provoke a person of ordinary self-control. Mr. Benson did not do that. Number 2, violates section 609-224 and causes the death of another or causes the death of another in committing or attempting to commit a misdemeanor or gross misdemeanor offense with such force and violence that death of or great bodily harm to any person was reasonably foreseeable. Reasonably foreseeable. Most indications are that Ms. Mendez was already engaged in alcohol consumption by the time she got to the party. Number 3, intentionally causes the death of another person because the actor is coerced by threats made by someone other than the actor's co-conspirator, and which caused the actor reasonably to believe that the act performed by the actor is the only means of preventing imminent death to the actor or another. Not even applicable in Mr. Benson's situation. Proximately causes the death of another without intent to cause death by, directly or indirectly, unlawfully selling, giving away, bartering, delivering, exchanging, distributing, or administering a controlled substance classified in Schedule 3, 4, or 5. That's your narcotics. And we have no testimony that indicates that there were any drugs provided by Mr. Benson to anyone at the party. As you'll see in his arrest report, when you get your stack of information to review for deliberation, there was nothing like that even found in Mr. Benson's home. Marijuana, yes, but not any type of controlled substance. Number 5, causes the death of another in committing or attempting to commit a violation of section 609377, malicious punishment of a child. That would be someone being murdered by ED. Not applicable in our case. So, the manslaughter charges don't necessarily even hold weight here. And further, the social host liability law, I don't know if y'all are familiar with that or not, in Minnesota in 1999, which is the time period that we're looking at, even if a stretch of the imagination that Mr. Benson was somehow acting as host for this party, although we already have testimony that he was not a host, he merely provided the shell of the place to have the party. At that point, in 1999, social host liability was only applicable to proprietors of establishments who sold or bartered alcohol. And if it went to minors, they could be held liable. As a matter of fact, in the case of Sin versus Gergen, a party was held at her home, and a 16-year-old left and was struck by a train because he was driving when he was drunk. And the courts did not find her liable. Now, what has happened to Ms. Mendez is horrible. It really is a sad and tragic act. But even if you believe that Mr. Benson had anything to do with this, there were many, many, many other catalysts that caused this event. There was drinking, which, according to her best friend's testimony, they did regularly before they went out. She left. She left the Red Robin without telling anyone. She just walked out into the night. And Miss Carter, you would think that she might have checked on that, but she didn't. We also have no idea what happened when she left the Red Robin at approximately 12:30 until she was, I guess the time of death was 2. Could she have met up with the gentleman that Miss Carter does not like? Could they have had some type of argument? Could he have gotten mad at her? Could he have booted her out of the car, thrown her clothes out with her? Because as you know, her clothes were not 20, 25 yards apart and away from her. I mean, these things could happen. My point is, Mr. Benson, if you even believe that he had any type of culpability for this, there were so many other factors that played into this, not just him. Stop and think for a second. As my co-counsel said, we've all made mistakes in life, right? We've done things and maybe later said, oh, that was stupid, I shouldn't have done that. Well, I don't have the opportunity to sit here. I'm sure that Mr. Benson, had he known Miss Mendez was underage, would never have even associated. As a matter of fact, he may have actually even told her to leave his home. He had no idea. She was already intoxicated when she got there. You see someone who's already been drinking, you would just kind of think. So, I plead with you, please. Mr. Benson, I'll give you that. You may have made a mistake. But there were so many other mistakes that night. And this, we're talking almost 15 years of someone's life because they made a mistake. Thank you.
Prosecution, if you have a closing statement, you may not present it.
Yes, Your Honor. Before I do my closing statement, I would like to impeach a statement made by the defense early in the case. And if you have any questions, you can refer back to the stenographer.
We've already closed the case. You have to now present your closing statement.
He's the judge.
It's already closed. Got to present a statement.
It is an impeachment that is permanent.
Everybody's
It's
rested?
pertinent to my case, though.
Everybody's rested?
It's rested, but it's just a statement I need for the jury to hear.
Are you going to present your statement? I'm going to have to hold you contempt if you're not.
Yes. Earlier, her client led to the death of Vanessa Mendez, and by her own admission, and also that Mr. Harris' girlfriend was a minor, but the defense keeps saying that Mr. Vincent wasn't aware that was minors there. Even the testimony of Eddie Regan, he testified that there were 6 to 7 minors at this party. To assume that Mr. Benson wasn't a host when it was his home, correct? So if it's your home and something takes place in your home, such as a party with alcohol, then you are responsible for whatever takes place in that home. So I said he led to this young lady's death by bringing alcohol. It was his responsibility to find out who was getting this alcohol because he was hosting this party. For him to say that he wasn't responsible and he took someone else's life because he wasn't responsible. And it also states culpable negligence is in the crime of manslaughter. It's more than an ordinary negligence or gross negligence. Culpable negligence is gross negligence, coupled with an element of recklessness. And this is a clear case of recklessness because he didn't find out who he was serving the alcohol to. So I ask you, the court, to find Mr. Benson guilty of manslaughter. The prosecution rests.
All right, you don't have any questions? I can clarify or anything before you?
You get one more, she can get one more.
Everybody?
So I can stand up.
Well, there are 2 charges, not just that.
2 charges.
Distributing delinquency.
And the delinquency of a minor.
Hey, we get another go.
Do it.
I said, we get another go.
Yeah. They each get one more.
They used to get one more?
One more if they need it.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, the prosecution is trying to make Mr. Benson out to be some type of a horrible creature. I don't think that any evidence today has shown that he's a horrible creature. If, as the prosecution would like to believe, Mr. Benson held Ms. Mendez down and poured alcohol down her throat until she could no longer move, which we know is not true. She was already drinking when she got there, and she continued to drink after she left. Once again, the actual legislation for the state of Minnesota in 1999 states that social host liability applies only to. I read to you the involuntary manslaughter charges. Mr. Benson had nothing to do with any of those forceful acts or controlled substances or anything like that. Once again, I will reiterate, if you even believe that Mr. Benson, well, I can't even say that because I don't think he knowingly gave alcohol to anyone. But I would have to ask for you to please consider all of the evidence in the thing and not just what prosecution. So make your decision for yourself. Thank you.
Prosecution, you have any more?
Yes. As I said earlier, the defense did say that her client was a lead player in the death of Ms. Mendez.
Can they lie them?
No, why would we? You reopen it.
All right, order.
And that, I'm just gonna go with the facts. The facts that the alcohol was served in the home, the fact that it was the home of Brian Benson, the fact that there were minors there, and Ms. Mendez was one of them. The fact also there were, other than alcohol, there were marijuana and cocaine. All this in his home. So, without a doubt, he contributed to a minor. And not only that, he contributed to her causing her death in manslaughter. So, I feel like the prosecution has given you enough information without a shadow of doubt to find him guilty.
Everybody happy now?
No.
All right. Y'all may go into deliberation if you now choose so. We will now go into recess until they notify my bailiff. They have a verdict.
All right.
Get her done. Question. Shoot bullets.
Like sweet water does.
You got good court back in session. Order.
Call back in session. Waiting on my jury. Please remain standing while the verdict is read.
Well, order in court.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have you reached the verdict?
Yes.
Who is really speaking for me? Ready? I guess. Therefore, case is dismissed. Mr. Benson, you may go free.
Side objection is the whole thing we take up.